Okay, you've done a practice and now it's time to work on your actual final line transfer. So I have my sketch. I have transferred it to newsprint, and you have two of them. One of my newsprints has extra glaze on it, so I'm not going to use that one. But notice how I cut it out. I cut out so that it's got enough room for my design, but a little space around it. I went and I grabbed the designer liner. My designer liner has a cap, and we are famous for losing our caps. So the very first step is to put it in the baggie so it doesn't fall on the floor. The designer liner also has a tiny needle, which we don't have a bunch of extras of, so please do not lose that, and a tip. So first thing, I'm going to make sure that my tip is clean, that the last person who used it cleaned it out. So I'm going to take the needle and kind of poke through from one side, and then I'm going to poke through from the other side, and hopefully it goes through. If not, you're going to have to kind of rinse it out and wait for it to soften up and clean out that tip because you can't use it if it's clogged up. All right, I do not want to lose this needle. I don't have a bunch of extras. We don't have a bunch of extras. Please put it in the baggie so you don't lose it. Now, I have this black container and I have my tip that I know is clear. It's just to put it on, a little bit of a pressure and a little bit of a turn. It's not really a screw-on cap. It's more that the pressure and a slight turn that gets it to rest onto the top of your container. All right, so now I have my tip on. You are going to want to give your bottle a couple of shakes, right? And then you're going to want to test it. You could test it on your mat, but then you might get it on your hand. So I would have a spare piece of paper to test to make sure that your tip is actually working. And now we need to trace around the line. If you have a lot of curves like I do, you might want to use the banding wheel because you want to make sure that you're not going to smudge any areas that you have done. So I'm going to use the banding wheel and I'm going to do the best I can. It's freehand kind of drawing, trying to trace the lines. If it's not perfect, it is what it is, right? You're going to just do the best you can. So I am going to kind of take my time. I don't want my black to get really thick. I'll have problems later when I'm transferring it if I have a bunch of really thick lines. But you're going to notice I'm not perfect. There are going to be some areas that are thicker and some that are thinner. And then after my transfer, you're probably going to notice there's some areas that maybe smudged a little bit and some areas that were better. So just take your time. I am speeding up this video. So right now it's at least double speed, if not quadruple speed. So, and I'm going to get even faster here in a second because you don't need to watch me trace all of this at normal speed. So your job is to trace even the outside edges with black designer liner and just get it all kind of filled in. We don't use it, when I say filled in, we don't actually use it to paint in, just do all your line work with the designer liner. You would do any big areas with Underglaze later. There's this little area here that seems kind of empty, and I'm thinking, it seems kind of empty. Should I put something in there? So I'm not going to just go right with the glaze. I'm going to go to my sketch and I'm going to draw some in and see what I think. And my thought is, I do like them. So now I am going to go draw them in with the black ink. But I did want to double check first on my sketch to make sure I actually did like that idea, and I do. So now I can hand draw them in. You could always draw them in first with a pencil just to be safe if you thought there was something extra. You can see there's a few areas it's not perfect, but it is a handmade item, and so we've got that handmade quality. And so now I'm going to take the tip off, and I need to actually clean it. So just like when I first put it on, I was hoping the last person cleaned it. Now I'm the last person, and I got to make sure that I'm cleaning it. So I'm kind of dipping it in water, and I use my brush tip to kind of try to get out any excess glaze. Then I'm going to go grab that needle, which I did not lose because I put it in the baggie, and I'm going to press from the back side and push out any glaze, and then I'm going to go from the other direction and push out any glaze. And I'm really going to do this 2, 3, 4 times because it is a bummer if you get a tip and it's all blocked up because there's glaze in there. It's much harder to clean it out once it's dry. So take the time to do it and make sure, again, we don't lose any of these. So I have my tip, I'm going to put it back in the baggie, and I have the needle tool, I'm going to put it back in the baggie, and I'm going to make sure I don't lose any of this, so I'm going to put everything inside the big baggie. And I have that white cap, which I did not lose because I put it in the bag, and I put it back on. And I'm going to seal it up, and I'm going to walk over to the cabinet, and I'm going to hang it on the number 3 spot. All right, and so now I am done. I have to wait. It must dry completely before I try to do a transfer. Remember, take your time, good luck, and enjoy the process.